Dropping in. This week, I've been thinking a lot about manifesting. Manifesting is something that's talked a lot about in a number of spiritual communities and in some personal growth communities. And it really has to do with really creating the life that you want for yourself. I mean, it's a really beautiful concept. Um, Believing that you have the power and empowering yourself to really make that happen and let go of the things that aren't working for you and bring the things in that you really want more of, whether it's love or relationships or money. So it's a beautiful thing. But I also see a lot of people get tripped up on this manifesting journey by certain pitfalls. And so I want to talk a little bit about those because I think that the principle of manifestation is really wonderful, and yet there may be ways that we go about it that don't actually help the process. And one, I think, has to do with we're in this Western capitalistic mindset a lot of the time, which is it's a goal-oriented mindset, and it's all about making very clear goals and then making those things happen the way we want them to happen on our terms, on our timeline. And a lot of times that's not really realistic. I mean, sometimes it happens. You make the goal and you achieve the goal, and wow. But the majority of the time, it actually doesn't happen that way, or it happens at some point, but not when you wanted it to or expected it to. So there can be a lot of needing to let go of expectations or of how things are going to happen. And that can be, I think, hard for a lot of people who get very attached to certain goals. So being able to be flexible with your goals or your timelines can be extremely helpful. I mean, what often happens, I think, is people get frustrated because they have this thing, right, that they want to manifest, and then there are a lot of practices that people put into place around affirmations or the law of attraction, things like that. And with the idea that if you say it, it will become true. Or, if you if you raise your vibration, if you get yourself into the right mindset, then what you want is going to come to you. And I mean, again, I don't think that that's wrong to think. But I think that sometimes the frustration is like, well, I'm saying the affirmations, so why don't I feel better? Or I'm manifesting, I'm meditating on my perfect partner, and they haven't come into my life yet. So what's the problem? What am I doing wrong? And well, one thing you might be doing wrong is again expecting it to happen in a certain timeline, and even expecting it to happen the way you want it to happen or on your terms. In many ways, the most important thing about manifesting is putting the desire or the wish out there and then letting go of your need to control the outcome, letting go of needing to know how or when it's going to happen and what it's even going to look like. I've seen this a lot with relationships, people who are trying to manifest the partner of their dreams. And, oftentimes that person is already in their life and they're not picking up the signals, or it's someone shows up that isn't, they're not who they thought would be this person of their dreams, in their dreams. the person looked a certain way, had a certain job, blah, 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 you know? And the person that shows up is a lot different. And so they don't let that person in. They turn them away, even though maybe that was the right person. So there's a lot about being open, letting go of our expectations, letting go of our preconceived notions, our fantasies, our ideals, and being open to what shows up. That's a really big part of it. I see people too in a similar way who are trying to manifest wealth, or um, some people call it abundance. And I think they're two different things. Or there's a distinction to be made, because if you're trying to manifest abundance, you might actually discover that you already have it. Sometimes people who are feeling very strapped or stressed about money or finances, and um, that causes it takes up a lot of mental energy in their minds. But it happens to be that it's the mindset that they're in, the scarcity mindset or the cup half empty mindset, that is keeping them there. And once they're able to shift that, and they're able to see that they actually have a ton of resources at their disposal, that can be a huge mind-blowing moment, because then you just manifested it by shifting your mindset. you know the abundance is there, the wealth is there. The other thing about it, which the law of attraction talks about, if you're in the right mindset and the right vibration, then you're more likely to attract what you want, right? And so people go about trying to change their vibrations, trying to raise their vibrations and get the right mindset, and that can be kind of labor intensive at times. Just, it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of frustration in there too, because again, sometimes people will find themselves trying to hold on to good feelings. And I got news for you, that's impossible. Because feelings are like the weather, and one day you're in a great vibration and the next day you're in a low vibration, and that's happening all the time. It's beyond our control. It really is like the weather. It's like weather patterns in our body and our mind. And it's not going to ever end, meaning like we're always going to be subject to the weather patterns of the mind. So you can't hold on to a feeling. You can't, and I and that's not exactly what they're saying, of course, but I think that somehow it's how it's interpreted by people, that then they end up spending a lot of time working to be in a good feeling, because they think that translates to a good vibration, which will then attract the things that they want. Now, the thing about that is, aside from the fact that there's always going to be weather patterns moving through us, the important thing to know is that we might not have to work so hard. In many ways, what is required of us is simply to allow ourselves to be happy in the moment. Now, that may sound ridiculously simple, like too easy. But I want you to bear with me right here. The idea of manifesting in some ways, I mean, and again, it's like, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, I think it's great to set about trying to create the life that you want. But again, if it comes from a place of, because I don't have enough now, and so in order to be happy or to have the things I want, I need to get into a better vibration, then that just means you are currently subject to some stormy thoughts, right? Now, but at any moment, any of us can have access to peace and love, whether that's self-love or compassion, or that's actually running through us all the time. It's part of the wiring. It's part of the physiology. It's part of our being. And so it's really more about, instead of trying to make things happen, instead of trying to make manifestation happen, it's about letting yourself be at peace or be in love. And I mean, not romantic love, but I mean, be in love with yourself, within yourself. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by letting our minds rest, to be very honest. When we're working so hard to make things happen, we're in a more anxious state. We're like feeling like we need to be productive. We need to, like, do the affirmations and, get the vision board done and this, that, and the other. And really what we need to do is give ourselves space to be in peace, to be calm, to be in the moment, because in the moment, everything's fine. We have everything we need. It's only in our minds that we don't. So paradoxically, it's easier to manifest if you're in a relaxed state more of the time. And if you're in a relaxed state more of the time, you're probably going to have more joy and more happiness more of the time. And if you have more joy and happiness more of the time, you're going to be more open to possibilities and opportunities. You're going to be able to see exactly what you were looking for. You're going to be able to spy it. When we're open, and we're open to what life is going to give us versus trying to manufacture this perfect life that we get to work on manufacturing it ourselves single-handedly. And instead we're receptive to what comes our way, and we're able to see the possibilities in things that if we're too fixed on a certain goal, we're not going to see it. It's not going to look the way we think. So really, manifesting is about being open, and it's about being relaxed in life. It's about letting good things come to us. It's about being grateful for the things we already have and seeing that really that's enough. That is enough. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more by any means. I mean, that's the fun of life, right? But if it's coming from a desperate place, or if it's coming from a place of deprivation, then that's where we get tripped up. So yes, paradoxically, if we want to manifest things, it helps if we're happy first. And to be happy first means to get out of our heads, because in our heads that's where the thought storms are, and that's where the sort of negative filter is telling us that we don't have enough. So if we can get out of that and ease into the present moment, look around and really take in everything that's here, everything that we have, all the resources, all the love, even the material things, all the blessings that we already have. And we allow ourselves to just enjoy those things. Pretty soon, you're going to realize that you don't even need to go about manifesting things, because everything's kind of fine. Everything's going well. It's when we let go of those ideas, right? The ideas of how things should be, our expectations of how things should be or look, or how long they're taking. When we're in love with life, I mean, that is manifestation. That's how it happens. So, something to think about this week. I don't know. Maybe you want to just look around and see what you have to be thankful for. And if there are things you're still manifesting, you're still wanting to manifest, by all means, the partner, or the house by the sea, or whatever it is, trips around the world. By all means, enjoy that process. Manifesting is fun. And then let go and see what shows up. All right. Have a great week, and I will see you next time.